Do you think the RBA's done?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to say with a lot of confidence, right? I mean, what we heard yesterday was, well, we haven't really learned a lot in the last month. We've got this monthly inflation indicator, but that's all it is. It's an indicator. We're still missing a bit of information on how services inflation is evolving. So, yeah, could February bring another hike? Perhaps, but I think we're close enough to done, partly because of the global hiking cycle looks largely done, and Australia might be an island, but no country is really an island when it comes to economic policy.
Yeah, but the narrative for markets seems so binary at the moment. It's like this was, a year of rate hikes, and 2024 is going to be a year of rate cuts, broadly speaking. Do you think there needs to be a bit more kind of subtlety around that narrative?
Yeah, I think so. I think the market wants to price kind of the next thing, right? The higher for longer and pausing for a while makes markets nervous. What's next? Let's just look forward. It kind of depends on the country. I think the market's getting a bit too excited about the Fed. I think a growth slowdown could come, but it's not coming just yet. I'm not sure they'll be cutting quite as quickly as the market's pricing. But if you look over at Europe, Euro area, they're now in recession in all likelihood. Inflation's coming down at a rate of knots. Yeah, absolutely, they could be cutting in Q1 or early Q2. So it kind of depends on the country. New Zealand probably pretty early on. Australia might be a little bit later. So it'll be a story next year of rate cuts, I do think. But at different stages, there'll be divergence, which is an interesting place for FX. So.
Yeah, so where is fair value, do you think, for the Aussie dollar, given things on the China front? Certainly we're speaking to the Rio Tinto CEO a little later. He's pretty bullish in terms of the volumes that we're still exporting to China.
Yeah, I'm a little bit bearish on the Aussie dollar. I think it can fall versus Kiwi, fall versus things like Canadian dollar as well. The China story, there's a lot of promise there. Every few weeks there's some kind of policy announcement, and then the follow through, I'm always struggling to find it, right? If I look at the share prices of Chinese property developers, they're at new lows. Property sales are still pretty low. Iron ore, bizarrely, I've got this wrong, it's just held up anyway.
Yeah.
But until China really makes a move and really supports the property sector, it's fine, but I don't think it's enough to really drag the Aussie dollar higher. And meanwhile, when I think about the domestic situation, what matters for the Aussie is not so much what the RBA is going to do in February or March or April, but what it's priced to do a couple of years out. And that's where the market really thinks the RBA will stay higher for longer. And I think the market's going to be proven wrong there. So I think even the yield support from 1 year yields, 2 year yields for Aussie, it probably doesn't get any better than this.
Given the opacity maybe that we're seeing from policy for next year, does that mean there's no real clear one-way direction for the dollar?
The US dollar?
For the greenback, yeah.
Look, I think there will be some some clear directions, probably a second half of next year's story. And that's because I don't really buy the immaculate disinflation soft landing story. When I look across G10, what I see is a whole host of countries at recession, close to recession, at the very least a per capita recession, like Australia. Can the US really buck the trend? I'm sceptical. I think the lags are just longer there. So the US growth story, if that rolls over early next year, if you get a recession there, then the dollar catches a bid. At the moment, it's all dovish Fed repricing. We don't need to be really long dollars. But that can quickly get arrested if the US growth story catches down. Now, on the other side of all this, if there's a US recession early next year and equities are softer, on the other side of it all and you get the policy rate cuts, that's when the US dollar really starts. It's kind of medium-term downtrend, but it seems too early for me.
Yeah, but the dollar weakness has given a bit of breathing space for policymakers in Japan, at least. Yeah,
it has. Dollar yen down at 147 now. We have been bullish yen, and we're still inclined to be that way medium term. The Tokyo inflation data yesterday was a little bit softer. For the first time in a while, it's been 3, 6, 12 months, any way you cut it, the inflation data has been worse than expected, and the Bank of Japan have been too optimistic about how quickly they can get this inflation. Yesterday's data was the first bit of data in a while on their side. So that is putting less pressure on the BOJ. I haven't been able to say that for 6, 12 months probably.
Yeah.
So even those guys maybe don't have as much pressure to tighten either. So yen's in a funny place, really, really cheap, but it's still, at the moment, it's still a world where carry is valued and they're the odd one out.
Yeah. Dollar China hasn't really done very much, but do you think they'll tolerate a bit more weakness?
Yeah, I think they have to. I'm not sure what else their policy options are in the medium term. As I say, all this talk about property policy support and where is it? There's already...
They don't want to support it too much. I think that's the problem, isn't it? That they want to deleverage.
Exactly, and that's the point, right? This is a country with a lot of debt, whether it's in the property sector, whether it's in the local governments. Could they stimulate the households to borrow more? Maybe a little bit, but it seems like there's not a great deal of policy tools. So allowing some RMB weakness over the next year or two, maybe that kind of makes sense. So maybe, look, at the moment, there's a lot of kind of official support to stem some of that serious weakening we saw earlier in the year, but from here, I think that the trend is a little bit lower.
Yeah.